we'll go over, we'll do pretty much what we did last week, but we'll do a little bit of a standing warm up tonight, and then I'll go through things a bit, but I might add some extras in. So I've just done sort of a similar class beforehand, but I won't put all of that stuff in. So we'll see how it goes. So when I do standing warm up, I just tend to do a few exercises that kind of warm up the shoulders, the hips, the legs, etc. And it's just something I've always done. A lot of Pilates instructors don't do that. They tend to just do a bit of mindfulness or the breathing, but I tend to just do a sort of a low impact warm up, as it were. So what we'll do is we'll start with just the sort of circles of, we're warming up each shoulder. So you're just going to circle around. I do have music on in my previous class now, but I won't do it yet. And then forwards. One week we had loads of people outside and they were really noisy. So nobody could really hear me. So I thought I'd bring the music in and then change over to the other side. And anyone feel any cracks and cricks and yeah, and then forward. Okay, and then bring that arm down. And then what we do is we bring the arms out in front. And if you just think about mobilizing those shoulders, so what you're doing is you're going to squeeze forwards and squeeze back. So it's kind of working. If you think about the shoulder blades, they're pushing away and they're coming towards each other. And it's really nice, especially if you've been sitting at a desk all day. And then bring the arms down. And then what we're going to do is we'll do this. There's another nice stretch that you bring the hands together and then you link the fingers and stretch a little bit into the fingers. And then you lift up and then you just take the arms behind. So if you think about it, what's doing with stretching into the back slightly, then to the fingers. And then when you're up, it's sort of shoulders. And then when you're behind, it's your chest. So we'll do one more of this. And then behind, that's it. And then just roll each shoulder. And another thing that's quite nice for a bit of a warm up is we lift the knee and then we bring it down and then we take the leg out straight, squeeze to the side. So to bring it out, you want to squeeze into your glutes, and then you're going to squeeze it. If I do it from the side, I'm going to do it behind. So you start with the knee, the knee lift, then a squeeze out to the side, and then behind. And we'll stay on the same side unless you've changed over, it doesn't matter. And behind. And then we'll just do one more on this side. Squeeze. That's waking up your glutes now and your quads as well. And then we'll change it over. Squeeze out. This is probably a good one you could do before running, actually. Especially waking up the glutes. Then we'll just do one more on this side. Be careful you don't put too much pressure in your back when you take that leg out though. Don't overdo it. And then shake the legs out. So what often happens is, and I've got someone quite new in my previous class that's flinging, like sometimes people fling their limbs around. So, you know, if you're going to go to, so even if you're going to do a kick like that, a lot of people will fling it and then use the whole body. Whereas what you want to do is you want to keep it nice and sort of a nice movement that's working from the torso. And actually what we'll do is we'll try that. So you're going to do a knee kick and then tap. But what you're going to do, rather than flinging yourself and moving the rest of the body, by keeping the abs nice and strong, torso strong, and then so the rest of the body doesn't move. All that's moving is from the hip to the leg. So you should feel quite strong here. You can go across or you can come out to the front. It's up to you. And then after this one, we'll change over. So just walk it out a second and then we'll change it over. So we're keeping nice and strong. Last one. Brilliant. Okay, and then shake it out. So you might be able to feel a bit that you've done something a bit round here now. And then what we'll do is we'll take that mat. We'll take the feet out a bit wider, and we're just going to go across just for a stretch. So you're going to get a stretch into your oblique, not obliques, your inner thighs, your adductors. You're cricking and then cracking. Yeah, same here. Last one. I crack when I go upstairs. I'm like crack, 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 crack. Okay. And the other thing sometimes what I'll do is do a little bit of a neck stretch as well. So generally what we'll do is I'll do 3 different stretches. One actually, we'll do the first one is you take your hands behind your head and you just, I'll do it this way. And then what you're doing is you think about your skull pushing towards your palms of your hands. So your chin slightly tucks as you do it, and you just do that for not for too long, and then just release it. So I find if you do it for too long, it can make you feel a bit dizzy. So just a few seconds, another towards the palms, and then relax. And it's just encouraging that your head and neck back. You don't, because so many of us end up in this forward head posture. So nice bit of encouragement. And then what we'll do is we'll lengthen. When I say lengthen from the neck, what I mean is we're kind of thinking chin slightly tucked, but it's lengthening from here. And then once you've done that, you're going to take the head just to one side, but then think about relaxing the shoulders, because sometimes I want to do this. So relax them down and then bring the head into the middle. And then again, you lengthen and take it to the other side. And then the shoulders want to do this, so you want to encourage them back. And then back into the middle. Brilliant, okay. And then just feet as well. I'm going to start doing a bit more in the other classes, which obviously this has become like a kind of mixed ability once you've gone through the first 4 weeks. I'm going to do more work on the feet and the toes, and that's especially meant to be helpful for running as well. So I've started to look into this sort of thing. But if you put your feet just at the end of your mat, it's the best way to do this is to have a towel and sit in the seat, but we haven't got that. So you've got your toes on the end of the mat, and all you're going to do is you're going to scrunch your toes and kind of like almost try and collect your mat a little bit, and then you're just going to release them. So just check you don't get, if you start to feel like you're going to get cramped, then definitely just, because I feel like I'm going to get cramped sometimes when I do it. So just for a couple of seconds, just squeezing them and releasing. Actually quite painful for me. You broke it. That's quite, yeah, quite hard to. And that's what they say, as you get older, your toes tend to go close in towards each other, and there's definitely differences, isn't there, now and where we're a bit older. And then what you're going to do to do the opposite is just lift the toes up now and spread them out. And again, that's really good for the feet. And I think definitely now that I've started to do that running, I've really noticed, and then, relax them, the difference that my feet are getting of pounding now. And I'm not even doing that much, but I can feel the difference. So I think you've got to be very careful and really look after your feet. Okay, so that would do for standing. What we're going to do is we're going to come down onto the mats, and we'll start off in the position on our backs with our knees bent, our crook position, and we'll start to go over all of that. Right. So we actually got through quite a lot last week. There was quite a lot to learn. So, but we'll do the same sort of thing, but we should have a bit more time to do it all. Yeah, make sure you can see me. That's if you want to see me, that is. Okay, so you're laying down on your back. So we're just thinking about that position. So we've got two different positions really for our spine. It's either the neutral position, which is where you kind of find that sort of midway point, and that's the position you're holding for some of the exercises. And then if we bring the knees up, obviously sometimes we try to imprint the back. So we've got two different positions. But at the moment, we're just going to do our neutral position. So just find what's comfortable for you. And we'll just start with just taking the arms up to the ceiling. So the arms are straight. And all we're going to do at this point is we're going to lift the shoulders off and lower them back down. So complete sort of mobilization for your shoulders. Just make sure your chin's slightly touched. So you think about your neck sort of being quite lengthened. You're not. What I'm looking for is, what a lot of people do is they're on their backs with their head, and the head's right back like this. So try and bring the head so it's slightly further forward, and you've got a bit closer to the chest with your neck and head. That's good. And then what we'll try now is, from that position, we just relax the shoulders. And now we're going to just keep that neutral spine. Don't let the rib cage lift up. Keep the rib cage where it is. And we're just slowly taking it back to wherever feels good for you. And keep that rib cage down. And then bring the arms back to the ceiling. So this is just a really good sort of initial position or exercise to help you really feel that engagement in your abdominals, because you have to work quite hard to keep your back in that neutral sort of position. It's also a good position or a good exercise just for mobilizing, stretching the shoulders after if you've been sitting down all day or driving, etc. Okay, so this will be your last one. And if there's any questions, just ask as we go through. And then with your feet bent, my knees bent, my feet flat on the floor, we're going to just take the one knee and just take it out to the side. So try and keep the rest of the body in the same position. And then you're going to bring it back in. And then you'll change over to the other side, let that other knee come out. So what I'm trying to get you to do now is, when that knee comes out, what are you doing? Are you tensing your bottom, or are you relaxing it? What I'd like you to do is relax your bottom and then bring it back up. Because what you find is, as you take that knee back out, sometimes you tense the bottom. So let's just try and relax and then bring it back up again. So we'll do that one more time. So just opening up the pelvis here. Just relax your bottom, or your glutes, probably a better way of saying it. And this will be your last one. And bring it up. Okay, and then we're going to go on to our two different types of toe taps, and this is your initial toe taps. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slightly imprint the back into your mat now. So just think about, abs are working a bit harder. I'm going to imprint that back, and now you're going to bring one leg up into tabletop position. And actually, I'm going to try you with something else for a minute, but let's just keep that back imprinted. You can even put your hands under slightly just to check. And you're just going to tap down and then bring it back up. So let's think about breathing out as you tap, breathe in, so come back up. And as you breathe out, I want you to contract your abs to keep your back down. And then in up. So it takes a bit of thinking about, but the main thing is just breathe, even if it's not quite right, and keep those abs contracted. And then just bring that leg down, just relax for a second, and then imprint the back again. So bring the other leg up into that tabletop position and then tapping down. So you should feel it as soon as you tap, that your back and your abdominals are working. Last one. Bring that leg down. So just relax for a second. So I'm going to try something. We do this usually with the balls, but you can do it just with your hands. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring one leg up. So the previous leg, the one that you haven't used, just bring it back up, and you're going to place your hands, the palms of your hands, against your knee, against your thigh, and then you're going to imprint your back into the floor. And you're going to just, can you feel the tension in the abdominals? If you push, so now you're going to push your hands against your thigh, push thigh against your hands. And can you see that, can you feel the tension in your abdominals? Are they kind of working to kind of hold that position? And breathing as well. So you can do it like a pulse rather than just holding it. You could do a pulse, but that might be a little bit easier than just holding it all the time. And then just release that off. That's quite hard, isn't it? I find that quite difficult. So, and then changing over to the other side. And so you're just holding, it's like a little bit of pressure. It's called I suppose it's really like an isometric exercise. So you're not actually moving, but you're actually working quite hard. And then just bring that leg down. Okay. So it's just quite a good way of showing you how you can really engage your abdominals. And then what we'll do now is we'll have a go at our toe taps in tabletop position. So you're coming up into tabletop. So the shins are parallel to the ceiling as such. And then as you breathe out, tap, breathe in to return. Breathe out, breathe in. And I want you to keep that back imprinted all the time. And that's the hard part. So you can go as slow as you want to. It's taken a bit to concentrate. If you want to check that your back's staying down, you can always put your fingers under slightly, because sometimes we do forget. Okay, last one on each side. And bring the knees into your chest. That just gives you a little bit of a rest. It just releases the back off slightly. So how was that? Did you feel that now? Would you say you're getting it a bit more this week? Does it make more sense? And can you feel it working? Yeah. That's good. Okay, so next exercise, we'll do some shoulder bridge work. So again, feet are flat on the floor, knees, feet and knees are hip width apart. And then we're looking at working, with the glutes now. So you're going to squeeze the glutes to lift you all the way up to wherever you feel comfortable. And then you're going to come back down through each vertebrae. So you kind of get the glutes to lift you directly upwards, and then you come back down in a curved sort of way through the vertebrae. And this is great to mobilize the vertebrae and just keep it. It's quite good because you're getting the the lymphatics, you know, the lymphatic is working through the body, and you're trying to help mobilize and get the liquid, as it were, not the liquid, but you know what I mean, into that area. So it's keeping everything lubricated, and that's what you need to keep it mobilized. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back down, just quick rest, and then we're going to squeeze the glutes to lift you back up, and you're just going to hold that position and have a go at lifting the heel off one side and then putting it back down, heel off the other side and back down. But all the time you're going to squeeze in the glutes just to keep the hips reasonably high, and you're lifting each heel and back down. So it's just putting a bit more pressure. Just be careful in this position. Sometimes cramp happens, so just don't overdo it. And then just start to come down through your vertebrae and just have a go. Just straighten the legs for a second. It just gives them, just stretches the hamstrings a bit. And then we're going to bend the knees. So I'm going to get you to try something else. I you've probably done this before. If you've done things like circuit training, I remember they used to do it at Pershore Leisure Centre, but you bring the legs up and you're going to do something called a reverse curl. So your arms are out to the side, so you're not putting too much pressure in that position, and you're going to lift the bottom off. It's called a reverse curl. I remember doing it in the circuit training. That's working your deep abdominals as you lift the bottom. Okay, last one. That's quite difficult, actually. It's not easy, is it? No, I quite like that one. Quite like it, yeah. But then again, that's me. Okay, so we'll do a couple of exercises that we did last week, and we can just go back over them. So we're going to bring one knee in towards the chest, and we're going to straighten out the other leg, keep it quite high for now. And this is called single leg stretch. So it's a stretch into the hip flexors. So you're going to change it over and bring the other knee in. And then you're going to change. So you have a choice here. You can keep your head down for this one. And as soon as when you straighten those legs out, the leg out, you just want to keep the back imprinted. But you do have an option, if you feel comfortable with it, of lifting the head and neck. And that just kind of works into your abs a little bit more, but it's not for everybody. So it's entirely up to you. And what you do is, as you bring that knee in, you squeeze into the abs and just do a little lift. And I tend to breathe out as I do that lift. But it's a great one for the abdominals. And then if you bring the knees back in and just bring your head and neck down now, that's a nice little stretch. And then the double leg stretch is sort of as it says it is. It's the knees and the feet together. And you start off just pushing them away and bringing the knees back in. So you're breathing out as you push away, breathe in. But if you're staying down, you've got to try and keep your back on the floor. If you're coming up to lift a position, you can support your neck if you want to, or you can have your hands down by your sides. But try and see if you can keep that back down, breathing out as you stretch away. Keep both the legs together. You probably have more control if you keep them together. And you should really feel that as you stretch away. This is hard. And then just bring the knees in. And just a little, just a very small rock from side to side, very small. Okay, just bring one foot down at a time. And then what we'll do, we're going to come up to seated position, however you want to. Right, okay, so we're going to do something slightly different with side work this week. I'm going to introduce you to the clam and do some straight leg lifts as well. So we won't do the circles this week, we'll do something different. So we're going to come down into position and just stretch out. So however you want to, arms out to the front if you've got your blocks, or arm out to the side behind you, it's up to you. So knees and feet on top of each other, so hips are stacked. We're starting first with the feet down, and we're just going to open, so the knee comes away from the other knee and then it closes down. But as we do it, we're thinking about the bottom is helping to open you up, basically, sort of remove the knee from the other knee. So think about the glutes doing the work. That's it. And then what we're going to do is, if we lift the feet up now, so the feet stay together, and what that does is it gives you a bigger range of movement. So you're going to open, you can just, I kind of find it feels a little bit easier. You get a better range of movement. And you're just opening and close. And then from this position, what you can do is do something what we call like a pulse. So you open out, you do like little pulses, maybe 2 or 3. You can just feel the intensity and then you come back. So it just makes it more of an intense movement, but you can really focus on those muscles, on the glute muscles. Last one. And just stretch that top leg away. So that probably actually just helps just to do that stretch on it. So the bottom leg at the moment just stays bent because it just gives you a better stability. And then what you're going to do is you're going to flex the foot and you're going to lift it off the floor slightly. And we're just going to lift it up and then lower it down. So keep that foot flexed, and sometimes what we do is we take it back a little bit as well. So that just adds a bit more, but we can just do whatever feels okay for you. So it's just a lift and lower. That's it. This is all glute work. Last one. And just bring it down. So if you need to, you can give yourselves a little hit in the glute area because that just sort of release it off a little bit. And then I'm just wondering whether to try, I'll tell you what, we'll try it. Just straighten both legs. And what you're going to do is then think about navel towards spine. So think about sort of contracting the abdominals first, and just see in that position, can you lift both legs together slightly and then lower them back down? So you should feel that more in your abs than the glutes. It's not really a glute exercise, which is why I thought it'd be quite nice to do it. And that's it. Try and keep the legs just really straight. Good. Last one. You're right. Okay. Brilliant. So you've done all that on that side. You better do it on the other side now. We don't want to let you go home all lopsided. So what did we do first? We did the clown with the feet down. So knees are bent. And you're just going to open and close. That's it. And then what I'm going to get you to do is if you lift your feet up, and we start to open and close, but you've just got that larger range of movement. And then I think we added some pulses in, didn't we? So if you're just going to pulse 2 or 3 times and then close it back down. You just get that little bit more intensity. Okay, that will be your last one. Brilliant. And then just bring that leg down. So just the top leg now is going to straighten. And we're going to flex the foot and then just lift it up slightly. And we're going to just lift and lower. So keep it nice and controlled. You don't need to fling it around or anything. You'll get a lot more out of it if you keep it controlled. And it's just thinking about squeezing from the gluteus medius muscle just to lift you and lower you. Okay, and then just drop that leg down now, and just if you need to give yourselves a bit of a pad, you can do. So we've done that, and then we just finished off with the double leg lifts. So you're going to straighten both legs. Just get your position. And then abdominals, so think about navel towards spine, and then when you're ready, lift from there. So because you should feel it quite a bit in the abs. And you can feel it I can feel it just under the, oh gosh, under the rib cage. Last one. What's he doing? I know, come up to seated. Okay. So what we're going to do next is some work on our front. So a quick drink. So we're going to do very similar to what we did last week, but I might bring some extra things in as well. So we're coming down onto our front. So we're going to do the half plank first. But first of all, what we're going to do is just in this position, we're just going to lift the tummy off and then lower it back down. So before we do anything else, it's just a good sort of reminder of what we're looking for when we do the extra work. So just lifting it and lowering it. So you should really feel that. Okay. And then what I tend to do to make it, I find it's slightly easier if I tuck my toes under, but it's up to you. You can just leave them as they are. So what you're going to do now is just going to sort of think about lifting from the shoulders and then your thoracic spine, and then just lift the hips, but you want to be lifting up through your abdominals to hold that position. Knees always stay down. And you might find you're shaking, so that's absolutely fine. And then return back down. So I tend to try and let people do it in their own time rather than being kind of like a competition, because everyone can do different, can keep it. And the main thing is it's the quality of it. So when you're lifting, I want to see generally I want to see a nice sort of flattish back rather than curved. You want to see a flat back, because that means that you're utilizing those abdominals to lift you. And just hold that position for a few seconds if you can. And keep breathing as well. That's the other thing, isn't it? Don't hold your breath. How's that feeling? Is it okay? Take a quick rest. See, Liz always says it like it is. Anyone enjoying it? Yeah, but I think actually it's better quality in a way, because when people do, actually we could do that if you want to. When you do the when you do the full plank, I think sometimes what people do is they kind of do this, so they're not actually utilizing their abs at all. You know, you've got to be in a different position. So yeah, no, I like this one. And we can, you know, as time goes on, you can make it harder, because just try it as an experiment. If you, where your elbows are now, if you take them another, let's say about an inch in front, go that little bit further, and then try the same thing and feel the difference, you'll probably feel that you're going to shake a lot more. So we can make it harder. We can make it more of a challenge, you know, if you want to. So, but I'm not going to make you do that. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our heads down. If you've got your block, then just put your forehead on your block. Now we can, this one is what we call like a rotator cuff exercise. And well, there's two that I can do. I'll show you a bit of both. So the arms go out to the side, because you won't want to do this in the winter because the floor would be really cold. See, at the beach hall room, it used to be warm, didn't it, all the time? So your forehead goes down and your arms are out to the side, and just you're just going to lift from the elbow and the wrist and then lower it back down, and then change over to the other side. So it's just a little lift and a lower. So it just helps with shoulder mobility. And you can, one side's always going to be more difficult than the other, and it's where you can really feel that as well. Good, that's brilliant. So last one on each side. And then come up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is you can either stay down in that position, or you can just come up slightly on your elbows. It just depends on your back. So this is quite a nice little kind of bit of a stretch, really. It's a leg lift. So what you do is you point your foot and you come up towards your bottom, And then as you go back slightly, you then flex the foot and then you come back again. So when you do it, what you're meant to do is do it quite quickly. Point, flex, down, and then you go point, flex, down. So you can feel that in your hamstrings and your quads. So basically it's quite a good stretch for both the alternate, the opposite muscles. But if your back's a little bit dodgy, then it's best to keep your head down. If your back's quite strong, you can actually come up to this position and do it. So, and your abs as well. You have to lift your abs up if you do it in this position. So try and do it point and then flex, because then you get both sides, both muscles. Point, flex, and then down. That's it. Excellent. Okay, last one. And then we'll do some darts. So this is for the lower back. So forehead comes down and arms come down by your side. So what I'd like you to do first, again, is have a go at lifting your tummy first. So in that position, you're going to just lift the tummy up and then just release it and lift. I know it's only a tiny little lift, but what you want to think about is when you're lifting the body, the abdominals should be lifting as well slightly, and push the shoulders down your back. So this is your dart. So you lift up into the tummy, then you lift, utilizing those lower back muscles. So it's probably a very small move, and you should feel that in your lower back, but not in a bad way, hopefully. So let me know if there's any issues. Okay. It's quite hard, actually. I find it quite difficult. So that would be your last one. And then while we're down here, I think we'll just do one more. So what we're going to do, you're going to bend one knee. And then again, always think about lifting the abdominals slightly. You're going to lift your quads off, your quad off, and then lower. So it's literally lift and lower. So it's your glutes doing the work. It's lifting you up. But just be careful with your back when you do that. So I'd probably keep your head down as much as possible, because otherwise you're going to try and put too much curve into the back. So you want to keep that quite relaxed. So it should be really just the glutes. So it can just be a tiny bit that the knees coming off. And then straighten that leg and bring it down, and then change over to the other side. So keep the knee bent and just lifting and lowering. It's not easy. And one side, you find one side's a lot harder. Yeah. It doesn't have to, though. Well, see, some people, everyone's got different flexibility. So I look around here and some people will coming off the mat quite a bit, and other people are only coming off slightly. And I think I only come off slightly. So it will depend on your flexibility, and one side's definitely more flexible. Yeah, and I find my right side's not so good. The muscles don't the muscles don't contract as well. They're not so. I know there's a problem on that side anyway. So okay. So just bring the legs down now, or leg down, and then from this position, you just want to come up into a shell stretch. So you can come up to however you want to. If you can, put the elbows behind you, but it depends on how that feels, and just come down into your shell stretch. And it's quite nice to bring that stretch over to one side. So if you take it over and then stretch. So if you're over on the right side, you want to stretch the left arm away from you a bit more, or the other way around, if it's the other side. So you can feel that stretch down the side of your body. And then coming into the middle, over to the other side. And back into the middle. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to, I think we'll just have a little go to some seated work, which we didn't do last week. So I know some of you that have been before will know all about the roll up and roll down. So, but what we're going to do, pardon? Well, I'm not going to get you to do the whole thing. We're just going to do a little practice of the half roll down. And so what you're going to do is you're going to be quite lifted at this point. So you're lifting up from into the torso. But then what we're going to do is we're going to come down and do a half roll down. I quite like to bend my knees, but you can keep them straight if you want to. And so what you do is you bring the arms out and we take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're just going to start to come back. But as we do that, we want to go into what we call a C curve. So rather than going back rigid, you want to let the back go into that sort of C curve, if that makes sense. So it's slightly rounded. And you're just going to hold that position. So you're on your sort of coccyx area. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, pull that navel in towards the spine and breathe out and then just come back up again. So it's just, what that does is it helps just bring you kind of back up again. I'll face this way, it might be better actually. So just have a couple of goes of that. So we're going down slightly and just letting the spine slightly curve, slightly C curve, and then take a breath in, breathe out, pull that navel in, and that lifts you as you come back up again. So it just is quite a nice one to get to. That's it. Okay. Last one. Yeah, I don't know if you get that, but when you pull that navel in, it does sort of kind of lift you up to bring you back. And then what we'll eventually be doing is some sort of full roll downs and roll ups. But there's lots of, the best thing to do when you start is to do the roll downs and not do the roll ups, isn't it? They're much easier than rolling upwards. So that's just a little bit of work on our side. What we'll do now is we'll try just a little bit of all fours work, and then we'll finish off on our backs. So in all fours position. So you're just putting the weights sort of reasonably evenly if you can. And all we're going to do is just take one arm off and then bring it back and then change over. So what I'm sort of looking for in this position is just utilizing the abdominals so the rest of the body doesn't move too much. So you're thinking about the abdominals, keeping you quite stable. And although it doesn't look very much, actually, you know, if you're doing it properly, then you should feel that in the abs. Okay, last one. And just come back off. So just a small sort of shell stretch, just come down to sort of about 2 elbows, nothing too much. And then we'll come down onto our backs to finish off. I've got a horrible feeling that I'm recording this and the sound isn't on. Because the AirPods, normally you can hear like a little bit of noise, you know, when they connect. And I'm sure they did connect, but because I used them previously and they worked, but I took them out for a bit and don't think they've reconnected. So I've probably done this and nobody can hear me. So that's a shame. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take the right foot over the left thigh and just draw that leg towards you, but try and keep the knee away from you. So we're just trying to work on stretch of the glutes. And release. And then change over to the other side. And then draw the leg in. Just nice deep breath as well. So try not to forget to breathe. And bring the feet down. And then we're going to just take the arms out to the side and the knees are going to go over towards the floor. Keep the feet down this time. So you can take your head to the opposite side. And then just sort of utilize the abs a bit just to bring the knees back into the middle. And then take it over to the other side. And then back into the middle. So just a slow drift from side to side. And we'll change this as the weeks go by. We can lift the legs and we can take it up to another level if we want to. Okay, last one on each side. And then just stretch the legs away. And we're just going to take the arms over our shoulders, just so just a bit of a full body stretch. And then I'll just get you to come up to seated, however you want to. And just stay seated again. You don't have to have cross legs, just sit however you want to. Brilliant. So let's just lift one shoulder and then just release. And then lift the other and release. And then we'll take our last 2 breaths to finish. So let's take a breath in and out. And in again.